Good day, everyone. So, today we're going to talk about hydropower plants, one of the oldest and most efficient sources of renewable energy. Let's dive into how these plants work, especially how they harness the power of falling water to generate electricity. Paano nga ba nangyayari ito? First, let's start with the basic concept. Hydropower plants rely on water to produce electricity. Specifically, they use the kinetic energy o yung energy ng movement of falling or flowing water. Sa madaling salita, ang water sa mga rivers or waterfalls ay may natural na enerhiya at yun ang ginagamit para mag-generate ng kuryente. So, paano ba talaga nangyayari yun? The process starts when water flows from a higher elevation to a lower one. This is what we call potential energy. Kasi kapag mataas yung tubig, may stored energy siya. When it falls or flows down, this potential energy turns into kinetic energy, meaning energy in motion. Dito na pumapasok ang turbine. Pag ang tubig ay dumaan sa isang turbine, yun ang unang part ng proseso. The falling water pushes the blades of the turbine. So imagine mo na lang na parang fan na umiikot. Kasi ang turbine blades are designed to spin when the water hits them. As it spins, the kinetic energy from the water is converted into mechanical energy. Basically, the water's motion is now making something move. So the turbine is basically turning the energy of motion from the water into something we can use, mechanical energy. Ngayon, from here, the mechanical energy is transferred to the generator. It's like the second part of the system. Ang trabaho naman ng generator ay convert mechanical energy na galing sa turbine into electrical energy. How? Well, the generator contains coil of wire and magnetic field. Kapag umiikot ang turbine, it moves the coil inside the generator. And that motion creates an electrical current. Kaya, kung mapapansin mo, generator talaga ang dahilan kung bakit nagiging kuryente yung energy na nakukuha mula sa tubig. When the coil moves inside the generator's magnetic field, it causes electrons in the wire to move. And electricity is generated. Once na na-convert na yung mechanical energy into electrical energy, it's ready to be transmitted to homes, industries, and cities. Kuryente na mula sa hydropower plant ay po pwedeng mag-supply sa malalaking areas, providing clean and renewable energy sa ating mga bahay at businesses. Bakit nga ba importante ito? Isa sa mga pinakamagandang bagay tungkol sa hydropower plants is that they produce renewable energy. Meaning, hindi na uubos yung source. Water will always be there and it keeps on flowing naturally. Kaya sa panahon ngayon, kung saan naghahanap tayo ng mga paraan para mag-produce or mag-reduce ng carbon emissions, hydropower is a great option because it's clean and sustainable. So, to wrap it up, hydropower plants work by using the natural kinetic energy of falling water. The water moves the turbine, turning kinetic energy into mechanical energy, which is converted into electrical energy by the generator. From there, the electricity is distributed to our use.
Dito naman tayo sa top 10 largest hydroelectric power plant sa buong mundo. Una na dyan ang Three Gorges Dam na nasa China na meron 22,500 megawatts. Pangalawa ang Itaipu Dam na nasa Brazil at meron itong 14,000 megawatts. Pangatlo ang Siludu na sa China at meron itong 13,860 megawatts. Pang-apat ang Belo Monte na nakalocate or nasa Brazil na merong 11,233 megawatts. At panglima ang Guri na nasa Venezuela at meron itong 10,235 megawatts. Pang-anim naman ang Tucuri na nasa Brazil at meron itong 8,370 megawatts na capacity. Pang-pito ang Grand Coulee na nasa United States na mayroong 6,809 megawatts. Pang-walo ang Xiangjiaba na nasa China at meron itong 6,448 megawatts. Pang-siyam ang Long Tandem na nasa China din at meron itong 6,426 megawatts. At ang panghuli, ang Sayano Shushenskaya na nasa Russia at meron itong 6,400 megawatt capacity.
One of the most well-known hydropower plants in the Philippines is the Magat Dam. It is located along the Magat River in Ramon Isabela, which is major tributary of Cagayan River. The dam was constructed between 1975 and 1982 and is considered one of the largest dams in the country. It is classified as a rock-filled dam and has very long crest length, about 4,160 meters. In terms of power generation, it has a capacity of 380 megawatts, which allows it to supply electricity to a large portion of Luzon. Aside from generating electricity, it also plays an important role in irrigation and flood control. To better understand its scale, let's compare it with other power plants. Although Magat Dam is one of the largest hydropower plants in the Philippines, it is not the largest overall power plant. For example, the Ilihan Combined Cycle Power Plant and the Suwal Power Station both have capacities of around 1,200 megawatts. Meanwhile, the total generating capacity of the Luzon grid is about 14,348 megawatts. Globally, the largest hydropower plant is the Three Gorges Dam in China, which has a capacity of 22,500 megawatts. This shows how hydropower can both operate on both national and global scales. Now let's move on to the main components of hydroelectric power plant. First is the dam, which stores water and creates pressure needed for power generation. Next is the intake, which serves as the entry point where water flows from the reservoir into the system. Then we have the turbine. The turbine is rotated by flowing water, converting the energy of water into mechanical energy. These three components work together to start energy conversion process. Continuing with the components, we have the transformer, which increases the voltage of electricity for efficient transmission. Next are the power lines, which carry electricity from the power plant to homes, businesses, and industries. Lastly, the outflow is where water is released back into the river after passing through the turbine. So this shows that hydropower systems do not consume water but simply reuse it as part of the natural cycle. Now let's look at how the entire hydropower system operates. First, water is stored in the dam, where it gains potential energy due to its height. When the intake opens, water flows downward through pipes toward the turbine. As the water moves, it speeds the turbine, converting its energy into mechanical energy. This mechanical energy is then converted into electrical energy by a generator connected to the turbine. The electricity then passes to a transformer to increase its voltage, making it suitable for long-distance transmission. Finally, the electricity travels through power lines to reach consumers, while the water exits through the outflow and returns to the river.
So, hi guys! I-explain ko lang kung paano gumagana yung isang hydropower plant at ano yung mga parts nito. Una is yung reservoir. para lang siyang malaking imbakan ng tubig. Tapos dito naiipon yung tubig na gagamitin para mag-generate ng kuryente. Next is yung control gate. Siya yung nagbubukas at nagsasara para kontrolado kung gaano karaming tubig yung ipapasok dun sa system. Meron din ditong trash rack. Para lang siyang filter kasi hinaharangan niya yung mga dumi tulad ng dahon o sanga para hindi pumasok sa system. Tapos dadaan yung tubig naman dun sa intake, which is parang entrance papunta sa loob ng system. From there, papasok siya sa penstock. Yung penstock is parang isang malaking tubo. Dito bumibilis yung daloy ng tubig dahil sa pressure. Yung mabilis na tubig naman is tatama siya dito sa may turbine. Kaya iikot siya. Parang electric fan lang pero tubig yung nagpapaikot sa turbine. Yung turbine naman is nakakabit siya sa generator. Habang umiikot yung turbine, umiikot din yung generator. At dahil doon, nakakapag-produce tayo ng kuryente. After nun, dadaan yung kuryente sa transformer para palakasin yung voltahe. Kasi kailangan yun para maipadala sa malalayong lugar. And lahat ng yun is nangyayari sa powerhouse, which is parang main building ng planta. Pagtapos magamit yung tubig, lalabas siya sa tinatawag nating drop tube na tumutulong naman para smooth yung paglabas ng tubig. Then pupunta siya sa outflow kung saan bumabalik yung tubig sa ilog. Kung sakaling sobra naman yung tubig, meron tayo dito sa kabila na spillway para doon dumaan yung extra tubig at hindi umapaw yung dam. And finally, yung transmission lines. Dito naman, yung transmission lines yung nagdadala ng kuryente papunta sa iba't ibang lugar or papunta sa mga bahay-bahay. Dito naman tayo sa steps on constructing a hydroelectric power plant. Site selection and feasibility. Identify a river or water source with sufficient flow and elevation difference. Kailangan daw merong mahanap na river na steady yung water source and sufficient. And also, meron ding elevation difference. Study hydrology or water availability, and geology naman for rock stability and environmental impact. Number 2 is environmental and legal approvals. Conduct an environmental impact assessment. Secure permits from government agencies and plan for ecosystem protection, fish migration, and community relocation if needed. Number 3 is design and planning. Engineers design the plant layout, dam or diversions, structure, reservoir if needed. Kung walang pag-iimbakan, syempre kailangan gumawa ng dam. Penstock naman, itong penstock is ito yung mga pipes na nagke-carry ng water. Powerhouse where turbines and generators are. And select turbine type depending on conditions. Meron tatlong turbine type. Itong Kaplan turbine, low head, high flow. Francis turbine, ito yung most common. And yung Pelton turbine naman is yung high head and low flow. Number 4, civil construction, build the dam or diversion weir to control water flow. Construct spillways to safely release excess water. Excavate and build channels, tunnels, or pipelines, or penstocks. Construct the powerhouse building. So sabi lang dito is gumawa daw ng spillways para daw safe na ma-release yung mga excess water. And also yung maghukay para paglagyan ng mga pipelines or tinatawag nating penstocks. Number 5 naman is install mechanical systems, install turbines inside the powerhouse, add control, gates and valves to regulate water flow. Ensure proper alignment and mounting of rotating equipment. Number 6 is install electrical systems, connect turbines to generators. Yung generators is yung nagko-convert ng mechanical energy into electrical energy. And install transformers to step up the voltage for transmission. build switch yards and transmission lines to connect to the grid. Number 7, testing and commissioning tests each component, like the turbine, generator, and also the controls. Run trial operations to ensure efficiency and safety, synchronized with the electric grid. So sabi lang dito is mag-run daw ng testing para daw sa mga components, like the turbine, generator, and controls, para daw ma-ensure yung pagiging efficiency nitong hydroelectric power plant and also yung safety nito. And number 8 naman is operation and maintenance. Monitor water flow, turbine performance, and power output. Perform a regular maintenance to prevent failure. Manage reservoir levels and environmental impacts. Siyempre, sa paggawa ng hydroelectric power plant, kailangan nating ipanatili yung pagme-maintenance dito para hindi masira. And also, kailangan nating i-consider yung environmental impacts. Kung makakasama ba ito sa environment natin and kung paano natin aayusin yon or susolusyonan. And yun lang.
So let's proceed the hydropower dam design. Mayroon tayong tatlong dam design. Number 1 is a solid gravity dam. Number 2 is the arch dam. And number 3 is the butt stress dam. Isa-isahin natin at explain natin isa-isa sila. Ang solid gravity dam daw, ito yung pinaka-common na dam. Solid at mabigat siya. Usually gawa ito sa concrete o bato. Ang principle niya is simple lang. Ginagamit niya yung sariling bigat o gravity para labanan ang pressure ng tubig. Yung heat to water level, tataas ng tubig sa likod at tumutulak. Pero dahil sobrang bigat ng dam, hindi ito natutumba. In simple, strong pero mahal dahil maraming materials ang kailangan. The next is the arch dam. Ang arch dam ito ay curve, parang arco ang shape. Instead na mabigat lang ang laban sa tubig, ni-spread niya yung force papunta sa gilid ng bundok. Kaya mas efficient siya kasi less materials ang kailangan kumpara sa gravity dam. The best siya gamitin sa mga nakatagilid na kanyon or pagitan ng bundok. The last is a butt stress dam. Ito naman yung may mga support sa likod na tinatawag na butt stress. Instead na solid o buong katawan, may mga supports na para may haligi para hawakan ang pressure ng tubig. Dahil dito mas tipid ang concrete pero medyo mas complex ang design. In simple, good balance ng strength at cost pero mas mahirap siya i-construct. So let's proceed the hydro power design. Main factor that determine the dam power output. The amount of electricity a hydropower plant produces depends on two factors. So what is it? Number 1 is the height of the power pole. The height of the power pole, commonly referred to as the head, play a crucial role in determining the energy available for power generation. When water is stored at a higher elevation, it possesses greater gravitational potential energy as the water falls through the turbine. This potential energy is converted into kinetic energy, which drive the turbine blades. The power generated is directly proportional to the height of the pole. This means that increasing the height of the dam is also increasing the energy output. So ano ba yung ibig sabihin nito? So ang sinasabi lang dito is ito ay tumutukoy sa height o elevation ng tubig mula sa dam pababa sa turbine. Mas mataas ang dam, mas malayo ang pagbagsak ng tubig, mas malakas ang energy. So kapag ang tubig ay nasa taas o mataas na lugar, meron itong tinatawag na potential energy. Habang bumabagsak ito, nagiging kinetic energy o galaw. Mas mataas ang pinanggalingan, mas mabilis, at mas malakas ang pagbagsak. In simple term, the feather water falls, the more power it can produce. Sinasabi dito na directly proportional, meaning kung doble ang taas ng pagbagsak ng tubig, is doble rin ang energy na pwedeng makuha. So the second is the flow rate of water or discharge. The flow rate refer to the volume of water passing through the turbine per unit time. A higher flow rate result is more water interaction with the turbine blades, thereby generating more mechanical energy and increasing electrical production. So ano ba yung ibig sabihin nito? Dito naman ay tumutukoy sa dami ng tubig na dumadaan sa turbine. Mas maraming tubig, mas malakas ang pwersa ng umiikot ng turbine, kaya mas maraming energy ang nakukuha o nagagawa. Ang madami na tubig ay nakadepende sa flow ng ilog. Kung ang river ay malaki at malakas ang agos, mas maraming tubig ang dumadaan sa system, hindi mas malakas ang kuryente ang nakukuha. Kung maliit naman ang ilog, mas konti ang water flow, kaya mas konti rin ang energy na ipoproduce. Again, this also directly proportional. So kung doble ang dami ng tubig na dumadali dito, is doble rin yung energy output na nakukuha natin para sa power plant. So in summarize, ang production ng electricity sa hydropower plant ay nakadepende sa height of waterfall. Mas mataas, mas malakas ang energy. Number 2 is the amount of water flow nga. Mas marami, mas maraming power. Pag pinagsama ang dalawang ito, mas nagiging efficient at mas malaki ang electricity na nagpo-produce ng hydro power plant.
So, good day guys. Today pag-aralan natin yung top 5 tallest dam in the world, no? So, ang dam na ito ay hindi lang simpleng structures. So, sila din ay mahalaga o important sa hydroelectric power generations at water control. So, number 1, we have Jingfin A Dam. And second, we have Norik Dam. Third, we have Shaowan Dam. Fourth, we have Siludu Dam. And fifth is we have the Grande Vicens Dam. So, start tayo. So, today, we will examine the 5 tallest dam in the world, focusing on the scale, location, and historical development. These structures are not only feats of engineering but also in critical sources of hydroelectric power, no? So, simula tayo sa tallest, no, which is the Jingfin A Dam in China, no? So, rising to a 305 meters or approximately 1,001 feet, no? So, construction commenced in 2005 and was completed in 2013, no? So, this dam exemplifies modern engineering, no? So, designed to harness the powerful flow of the Yalong River for large-scale energy productions. So, next we have the Norik Dam, no? So, yung Norik Dam is the tallest dam in the world in year 2021, no? So, ngayon, currently, second place na lang siya sa tallest dam. So, it's located in Vakhsh River in Tajikistan. So, which is 984 feet or 300 meters. So, it was constructed between 1961 and 1980, no? So, notably, it held the distinctions of being the tallest dam in the world for several decades now, reflecting the engineering capabilities of its time. So third, we consider the Xiaoman Dam, also in China. So puro China with a height up to 92 meters, no? So taas. So onti lang difference siya sa Norik Dam, no? So or 958 feet. So construction began in 2002 and concluded in 2010. So it plays a vital role in regulating the Mekong River and generating hydraulic power. So fourth o pang-apat natin is the Siludu Dam. So measuring 285.5 meters or 937 feet. So it was built from 2005 to 2014. So this dam is part of broader network of hydropower system that contribute significantly to China's energy supply. So puro China talaga yung mga malalaking dam, no? Or yung mga tallest dam natin. So finally, examine the Grande Isense Dam in Switzerland, standing at 295 meters to 185 meters or 935 feet. No? It was constructed between 1950 and 1961. So it remains the tallest dam in Europe and it's a remarkable example of mid-20th century engineering. So in conclusion, these dams illustrate the evolution of engineering techniques across different periods and regions, no? As well as a growing global demand for sustainable energy resources. Thank you.
Good day everyone. In this part of discussion, we will talk about dam failures in hydroelectric power plants and their impacts. First of the example is the Banqiao Dam failure in 1975. This is considered one of the deadliest dam disaster in history. Around 26,000 people died and additional 145,000 deaths occurred due to famine and diseases after the disaster. Millions were left homeless. The main cause of failure was overtopping, meaning the water level exceeded the dam capacity during the extreme flooding. Next is the Machu Dam collapse in 1979. When the dam broke, a massive flood hit the city of Borby and the nearby areas. It is estimated that around 1,800 to 25,000 people lost their lives. This shows how dangerous dam failure can be, especially for the community located downstream. Lastly, we have the Oroville Dam incident in 2017. Unlike the others, this did not result in massive casualty, but it is still cause serious concern. A damaged spillway forced the evacuation of about 180,000 people. This highlights the importance of proper maintenance and early response to prevent disasters. In conclusion, dam failures can lead to catastrophic consequences such as loss of their lives, displacement of people, and damage to infrastructure. That is why proper design, regular inspection, and safety measures are very important in hydroelectric power plants.